Welcome back to Real Estate Investing with Alex Deacon, a part of the Property Management series once again this week. Today, in this episode, we're going to be talking about different challenges you may have with your rental property, and we're going to talk about single family and multi-unit too, and maybe even if we have time, larger multi-units if we get to that. But with me as always, I'm not going to be doing it talking about it. I know nothing about this. I am the guy that just softballs questions here. My name is Adam. I pitch to the main man here, Alex Deacon.
Why are you even talking?
I don't know. That's what my wife usually says too. So I should probably start listening to the woman like Wesley Snipes in White Man Can't Jump. But
Be quiet.
I know. But Alex, first off, how are you today?
I'm fine, and welcome our audience. Welcome to this wonderful podcast we're doing in my basement today.
Once again.
Second one in our basement. So if you do hear some loud noises, that's probably my crazy dog upstairs, or we do have Adam's daughter up there who's 9.
Yes.
And then
9 on Saturday.
My youngest
Sunday.
daughter is 14. So, and I have my grandson upstairs, so it could get noisy down there.
And it could get noisy down here, and you know what? It's almost like we're going back to our roots, like it's old ham radio. Like it's not before entertainment and technology was as crazy. There's 2 guys in a microphone in a basement. All right, let's start this off, Alex. There's obviously going to be challenges with any time you have a rental property, and I think anybody would be naive to think differently. But they're obviously much different when it's a single-family home, single-family unit versus something that's multifamily. Where do you want to start us on this as far as some of the bigger challenges, some of the more common, some of the more unique? Take us where you want to take us. You are our mage.
Well, first I have a joke for you. Since you used the word unique. This is the stupidest joke ever, but how do you catch a unique bird?
How?
Sneak up on it.
Oh! I should have probably saw that one coming from a mile away. I regret myself for that. I'm upset myself with that one. So that's good though. I like that.
Wasn't it there? It's a clean joke, but it was just stupid.
Well played. Hey.
Okay.
Clean is the new dirty.
I forget what we were talking about.
We're gonna go challenges with multifamily versus single family.
Yes, there are different management styles, right? So there are different management styles for lower income properties. Mm-hmm. There's different management styles for 20 units under one roof. There's probably different management styles for larger multifamily complexes, which we've never managed, and I've never had the opportunity to buy one that was super huge like that. And there's different management styles for single-family homes. Mm. So one caveat is none of these styles means that there's fair housing. We're not breaking any fair housing type of rules or laws or anything like that. It's just, and all practically speaking, you just have to. It's just a different style, and we'll just talk about the differences.
And then now, is there, before we get into it, because we're going to be talking about like Alex said, kind of smaller multifamily units, probably like 10 units, 15 units, somewhere around there, even smaller than that, some single families. But was there any reason other than maybe just not, timing was wrong, or just never had that opportunity, or was it just something you kind of chose to stay away from the larger multi-units, like the 20, 30, 40, even like 50 unit, town.
No, we haven't stayed away from it. We just haven't had anybody contact us and say, hey, we have this large portfolio we want to manage. Like, some of our owners own maybe 30 units, right? Just for example, I definitely one owner that owns about 30 units, but they're spread out over maybe, all over the area, and they're spread out over maybe 10 buildings.
Gotcha.
It could be 3 single families, 2 duplexes, and a 25-unit building, right? Which equals, I think,
somewhere around there. Yeah.
The math just escaped me.
We're working on the curve there.
Yeah. So, but our biggest unit that we manage is right now is we have a 16-unit, I believe, apartment building. We have a 15-unit townhome community, so to speak. It's just a small townhome road, and we put 15 townhomes on it. But the differences are dramatic. So, and the challenges too, because that's what we talked about. These are challenges. So, it's always, I think, better financially to own more units under one roof, because why?
It's just one building.
Yeah, one roof.
Yeah, it's one roof.
So 15. If you have 15 houses, you have what? 15 roofs. You have a lot more windows. You have a lot more plumbing. Well, you could have 15 furnaces too, 15 units, but you just have a lot more expenses. 15 sewer lines, right? Where in an apartment building you have one main sewer line going out usually, right? Unless it's townhomes. You just have you have less to worry about as far as maintenance. So 15 houses will not compare to 15 apartments under one roof. It's going to be night and day. You're going to have way more maintenance on the house. So that's one advantage, right? Mm-hmm. But a thing you have to consider is now the tenant's responsible for, in the single family homes, tenant's responsible to cut the grass, right? Mm-hmm. So I get that question a lot. Well, if the tenant's not cutting the grass, well, what do you want me to do, Mr. Owner? Do you want me to go over there and grab a whip and a 9mm and say, dude, you're going to cut the grass, or otherwise someone's going to get hurt? That's not the way it works. If they're not cutting the grass and the township is giving you got 3 days to get the grass cut, or we're fining you $100 a day. They come up with these incredibly ridiculous fines. Yes. So, yeah, $100 a day fine. We as a management company are going to send someone out to cut the grass because we don't want you to get fined. So who's going to pay for that? Cutting the grass. The owner. Right. We're not going to pay for it. Mm-hmm. You want us to pay for it? We're the management company. Right. We're just trying to keep you out of trouble.
You're the in between, yeah.
We can't help if the tenant's not cutting the grass. Now, what we can do is we'll cut the grass, pay for that, and we'll put it on their ledger as money they owe us, because it clearly states in the lease in the single-family home that they're responsible for the lawn. Okay? And if they don't pay it, then we can evict them. We can evict them based on how much money they owe and late fees and grass not being cut and past due rent, and you can evict on various reasons. It's a lot easier to evict a tenant when they owe money versus if they're noisy or loud or dirty or causing a nuisance in the neighborhood. It's really hard to prove that. Right. So that's one challenge in a single family is grass maintenance you won't have on an apartment building. Another one is snow removal. If the sidewalk's clean up and down the street and in front of your house there's snow and the tenant doesn't take care of it, you can get cited by the township. And what if somebody slips and falls? Whose fault is it then?
Right, because we're on the owner or property owner. Right?
It can be. Yeah, it can be. We had somebody slip and fall, and the attorney who was representing the slip and fall victim, they looked at our lease, and our lease clearly said it was the responsibility of the tenant to clear the walkways. So I think that was the suit was deflected away from the owner and us based on what was on the lease.
Good.
Yeah. Good. But it doesn't mean you still can't get sued. They're still going to try to sue you. And so it just happens. But yeah, our leases clearly state if it's single family, 99% of the time that the sidewalks are handled by the tenant. Sometimes if it's in an HOA, homeowner association, maybe they might be included in the HOA fees. But yeah, so the difference is you have some different challenges. So some other challenges you have in a multifamily that you don't have in single family is, well, we run into issues with roaches, right? I had roaches in one of my own buildings. I have a 9-unit building. We put a family in there who was filthy, really just filthy. The whole building smelled because of one family. And they caused roaches, and it cost me like $2,000 to get rid of the roaches because you have to treat and then you have to retreat, and it's insane. And yeah, was I gonna? Now, could I prove that they caused the roaches? How am I gonna prove it?
That's tough.
I'm gonna send over the detectives and the CSI detectives. Yeah. I could probably prove it, but am I gonna go through all that expense of taking them to court, proving that they didn't have the roaches? Then maybe winning a judgment of all the money I had to spend to clear up the roaches.
You might never get anywhere.
And by the time I spend legal fees and court fees and holy crap, in my time, I just freaking wrote a check for $2,000 and got rid of them. I didn't renew their lease. They paid their rent, but I chose not to renew their lease.
Gotcha.
Okay. So sometimes a month-to-month lease is better than a full-year lease. It depends on the property. It really does. So there's one bad tenant. If you're on a year lease and they pay the rent, but they're causing disturbance after disturbance, you're kind of stuck with them.
Yeah.
Unless you get police reports and things like that, you're stuck with them. So maybe it's better to, especially maybe in an area that's not so good, you're not attracting the best tenants, maybe it's better to have a month-to-month lease in apartment buildings. So that's a challenge you don't have typically with a single family home. Another challenge is bed bugs. Same thing. How do you? And now, from what I understand of bed bugs, you can pick them up on your luggage when you're coming back from a New York business trip, and bring them home, and they can eventually get into all the apartments somehow or another, right? How do you prove that?
Who did what?
Who did what?
Yeah.
So again, that's a challenge you don't have with single family homes, and that's a challenge that, as a management company, you just have to know when you can, or what you can do about it. You know?
I'm sure like mice would fall into that too with the multi-unit versus single family, because you had no idea where the mice were coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, in our leases, I do believe it says that the tenants on a single family are responsible for rodents and critters and bugs, right? But try to enforce that. When a tenant calls us and I have rats in my basement.
Right.
I mean, we have rats the size of cats.
Yeah.
And it's because maybe they live next to a vacant lot or
By the river.
Vacant property next door. It's usually because of that, or it's usually because rats are attracted to certain things. I think they're attracted to like literally dog poop. So if you have a dog and that dog's pooping everywhere and pooping in your basement, who knows where the dog poops, and you got rats, you would think that the tenant should be responsible for that, right? Maybe or maybe not. It depends on what that typical magistrate that you're in front of at the courtsays, right?
Or she says, yeah.
Depends what they think. You know, it really doesn't matter what the law says or what your lease says. It's going to depend on what mood that judge was in front of you that day, or what they believe. So, again, those are challenges that you have as a landlord in single families that you may not have as a multifamily. You know? Now, if you get mice, we'll get mice, right? And mice are usually attracted to garbage and things like that. So, one tenant who's dirty can cause mice and roaches and infest the whole building. So, certain ways that we handle that differently.
What I was thinking between some challenges between single family and multifamily. One that might be not as heavy on single family, but might be a little worse on for a multifamily unit, and vice versa, things like that. What else do you think?
I was just trying to rack my brain on what other challenges you have. So you have noise and coming in all hours of the night. I mean, you might have someone who has parties, someone who's parties a lot, someone who's obviously maybe probably dealing drugs. Because you have cars in and out all hours of the night, and that disrupts the whole building, right? That can disrupt the whole building. And how do you prove that? And the tenant pays their rent on time. That's where maybe that month-to-month lease can be more influential and more beneficial than a year-long lease.
And is this because, and I'm just thinking out, from...
Now, let me say we don't do month-to-month leases. We do year leases. But in many cases, when I have a problem tenant and their lease is coming up, I will have my managers switch it to a month-to-month.
Yeah.
Because I can see the forest in the trees. I see the problem coming up. I want to get prepared for it.
And do you think that the differences when it comes to noise and the constant in and out between the single family versus the multifamily? Obviously, the single family is separated; it's a home typically, and it's going to be more in a neighborhood. But is it? And I might be wrong on this, but is it more because usually a family that is renting a home is a more settled family versus you might have your single guy that's renting a unit when you're multi-units. A couple single guys, a couple single women, and then there's a family, but then there's a family that isn't really as settled. You know what I mean? Like younger kids. Do you typically find that with tenants when it comes down to that? Is that part of the reason too, or is it? Is it just like a crapshoot either way?
It depends. Are you asking, will you have more stability with single families because you have,
Is it usually a track that tenants? Correct. Yeah.
No, not necessarily. Yeah, no. Honestly,
that's the honesty we needed.
It's based. A lot of it's really based on area. Okay, is it low income, high crime, low crime? Is it a product that is in demand? So, for example, if you have maybe in a low income area, small efficiency apartments that are nowhere near a bus line for transportation, that might be very low desirability, very low demand. So you have to be careful. Now you might have something that's in a really good working class or maybe a higher class, higher income neighborhood with their high, efficiency apartments that they're just in demand. You have to know what the demand is, and before you buy the property, you need to know what the demand is. So, and that can create challenges. And then this doesn't matter if it's multifamily or single family, right? That can create challenges on getting the property rented in a timely manner, right? If you have low demand, how are you going to get it rented, right? You can always reduce the rents. That's always the number one way to get some people in there. But now, know your market. Is what I'm saying.
And when it comes to markets, I know you always like to label them like the ABCDs. And there's never a rule of thumb, so I'm not obviously looking for that either. We know that by now. We've beat that. We've always made sure you guys know that listening at home.
Yeah.
But is there? And again, there's probably no true answer on this one, but in those like more troubled areas, does it maybe then benefit more to have a single family home versus something that's multi-unit? Because then, again, they might not have transportation, or they might not, because it's not always like that. But no, it doesn't matter. Those aren't the challenges.
There's no rule of thumb. It doesn't matter. A single family in a bad neighborhood could be awesome, and it could suck.
And the reason why I'm asking a lot of like these vague questions like this, if anyone at home is wondering, and I know you're probably like, that's the dumbest question. You're right, it absolutely is.
No, it's not a dumb question, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter what you buy if you do your homework ahead of time and knowing your market. So the challenges we get as a property management company is someone will buy a property that has low demand. It's desirably not set up right, like the layout's poor, the bedroom's small, the kitchen's small. This just not something that everybody just loves and wants to live in. And then they want us to get more than market rent, get it rented quicker than we possibly can, and then keep it rented. It's just it's a slippery slope, and it's very tricky for me to say know your market, because sometimes I don't know my market. Sometimes I make mistakes too when I buy, and I live with it. And sometimes those are the properties I sell. I'm like, I screwed up here. Sell it, take a loss. Sell it, get my money back. Sell it, make a small profit, but sell it because it's never, in my mind, going to be anything worth keeping just due to the aggravation and the cash flow or whatever the case may be.
And that's actually why I brought that up, is because I wanted to really hammer home that it's the challenges that we wanted to talk about. Not saying there aren't tenant challenges, but you're going to have tenant challenges no matter which way you go. These challenges are more look at like like the 15 units, 15 roofs, 15 units, one roof. Like those are different challenges. We're talking about when we're rebuilds. We're talking about maintenance, things of that nature. Tenant issues are going to be the same across the board.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's just the issues are amplified when you have a tenant issue. They're amplified in a multi-unit building. And it's dirty or loud or disruptive or has a substance abuse problem. You might think, well, that's a personal problem. But no, it's not. It's going to affect that whole building. Yep. Or a single family, it doesn't. It'll affect a few neighbors. You'll get the neighbors calling. So it's completely different. The issues that you'll have and the way you handle them on single family versus multifamily can range and be completely different than what you think they would be. you just some of the things I can't even think of off the top of my head, but they're extremely different. So I don't know. This should be handled in different ways.
And this is where we toss this out there. If you do have a question for Alex about any challenges you came across, reach out to him. It's just alex@alexdeacon.com. You can find him, I'm sure, I was going to actually say on Twitter and Facebook, but you could absolutely message us on.
I don't even know what Twitter is. So
yeah, so okay, so not Twitter, because not on Twitter.
I don't know what that is.
I'm the monkey behind the truck in Twitter. But
the other one was what were you mentioning? Snapchat or
Instagram.
Instagram.
We'll be doing Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be me behind.
My daughter does the Snapchat thing where you make faces like.
I don't know, a Snapchatter. Yeah, I don't know.
Instagram, okay.
Yeah, we'll be on Instagram because there is that's our big one of our big 2019 announcements. Yeah.
It sounds like a cereal.
It does.
Some Instagrams.
It'd be nice. It's almost like you put it in a microwave and it's just Instagram. Boom, bang. But all right, so Alex, want to tie a bow on this?
Yeah, I definitely would. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate you taking the time and listening.
Absolutely.
Talking to the audience here. I know some of this is kind of dry and boring, but hopefully you pick up a few tips and pointers. And I never want to deter anybody from buying multifamily properties, and I always want to be positive and optimistic about it. But just treat it like a business. Know the market. Know what you're getting into, and know that there are different styles. It's not black and white. It's always different styles and different things that can come up, and hurdles and challenges. From single families to multifamilies to having a management company do it for you to you manage it yourself. I'm basically telling you to think and broaden your horizons and know that we are here to help. So if you do need help, you can always reach me, alex@alexdeacon.com. That's my email. If I don't get back to you right away, email me again. I probably get a couple hundred emails a day, and it's just almost impossible to keep up. So I will try to answer your emails. And if we do manage a property for you and you're having issues, definitely send me an email, and I will respond to that because our clients are important, and I want to make sure we're doing a good job for you.
And like I said, you definitely can. And if for some reason you guys are on Facebook, on the social media sites, absolutely reach out to us because I am the messenger man, and I'll make sure the man here gets the message. So for Alex, thank you. I appreciate this session, good sir.
Thank you, Adam.
Listen, everyone at home, we greatly appreciate you. And I always say this, but if there's any topics that you guys would like us to cover, message us, Facebook, Twitter, Bigger Pockets. You can find us on meetup.com. Alex has a great real estate meetup group on there that you definitely want to dip into. MACE Property Management is found at pittsburghpropertymanagement.com. Deacon Hoover Real Estate Advisors, DHREA.com is where you'll find the other real estate side of things. My name has been Adam for myself and Alex and everyone at Deacon Hoover Real Estate Advisors and MACE Property Management. We thank you, and we will hope to see you next time.